All right, welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to Sharp Edge News TV. I hope you guys are doing okay. Do me a favor, hit the like button, share, subscribe, and follow. Turn up your notifications so you're notified whenever we go live. All right. And by the way, if you are watching on Facebook, we need to get up to 100 followers on Facebook. We're at 126 subscribers on YouTube. We're doing well. So help us share, subscribe, like, all of that. Without any further ado, I have the editor-in-chief, SharpEdgeNews.com, and the High Chief himself, the publisher of SharpEdgeNews.com, High Chief Oladimeji Abitogun. Welcome, sir.
Thank you so much. Such a great delight to be back. And to all our viewers across the world, particularly in Nigeria, we say happy celebrations. It's almost like 1 week, one holiday now in Nigeria. Last week it was June 12th. This week, in spite of the fact that the Islamic celebration was Sunday, there has been this 2 days giveaway of public holidays in Nigeria.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
happy celebrations. And thank you for choosing to hang out with us. As always, we appreciate you.
Awesome. Great. Thank you so much for that. All right. So, special. What do you have for us as SharpEdgeNews.com special this week? I'm sure there's been a few events over the week that you might want to bring us up to speed on.
Yes, our special is about the outbreak of cholera epidemic in some parts of Nigeria. And it's quite mind-boggling that in this time and age, in Nigeria, 54 years of, almost 54 years of independence as a nation, we still have to talk with them. We still have to contend and talk about this this disease that could easily have been eradicated, but because of the health standards of the country, the hygiene standards of individuals in the country, and for a country that is trying to project itself as a major tourism destination internationally, this is quite worrisome. About 7 years ago, I had the good fortune of hosting the then governor of Ondo State, the late Arakuni Akedolu, and the minister of the then minister of agriculture, and also that of water resources in Ayede Ogbese Kingdom. Akedolu had come to commission the Kamomi Aketi water project that was given to our community, courtesy of Honorable Mrs. Yetunde Adeyanju, the then executive chairman of Rural Water Sanitation Agency of Ondo State, RUWASA. And part of what brought the minister, Engineer Suleiman, to Ayede Ogbese was to flag off officially a campaign against a national campaign against open defecation in Nigeria. 7 years on, that remains a crisis with us, not just as a nation, not just within Ayede Ogbese Kingdom, of course, all over Nigeria. For example, if you are traveling between Ibadan and Lagos in Nigeria of today, even as we speak, that finely constructed and newly restored speedway, that major highway connecting Ibadan to Lagos, you see people openly, whether in the dark or daytime, you just see them pushing and having to stoop around the median, between the two directions of the highway, And what they're ready to do number one there, right openly like that. And in several locations, market locations all over Nigeria, there are no arrangements for what you call restrooms, public toilets, not even also for major transportation motor parks, public motor parks. You don't find all those things. So it is, I mean, little wonder that we will have cholera epidemic all over. In fact, it's more than an epidemic, it's a pandemic all over Nigeria. Same water, you see, often the late Ekiti Adamo musician, the late Ekiti native musician, although he came from Iran Akoko, the late popular Ishola Adepoju, would sing Omi Kijomu, Lejo Wesi. No disrespect to people of Ijo. The same water that the people drink, the streams, the wells, and so on and so forth. I mean, all this stuff that come from physics, human physics, animal waste. Even when people die on the along the major highways in Nigeria, there is no respect for the dignity of the human person. That is why somebody would be involved in indecent exposure in the name of having to do number one anywhere across Nigeria. So it's come to that point that the often not too busy but money-making National Assembly lawmakers and lawmakers in the different states to get busy. Laws should be made. Of course, there may be laws. There are relevant agencies that should take care of things like this all over Nigeria. But you know, people often mix things that touch on public good with sentiment. Even when people should be given this broad campaign as to eradicate open defecation, make sure that good hygiene standards are promoted and campaigned. By the way, the National Orientation Agency is there. They will be paid for being sloppy, for being idle every month, and then you wonder, where is the campaign? Unless it is about politics and political tolerance, unless it is about having to sensitize people against violence during election cycles and what have you. There are serious issues like this that border on safety of life, safe health standards and practices. People do not give serious concerns about this kind of situation, and that is quite worrisome. Beyond that, see, most Nigerians will not be able to deal with the serious issue of even having to bury the dead in places where, or in residential houses. We need to begin to look at the whole thing as a total package. It touches on hygiene standard, because when bodies, when human remains begin to
decompose,
begin to decompose and dematerialize, the sipping of the what do you call it, the fluid in the body after bacterial and whatever must have dealt, I mean, must have eaten up what they want to eat of that body. Everything will still empty into streams, will still empty into wells and other things that are used for different households in Nigeria. So apart from open defecation, our standards, this cultural sentiment and baseless attachment to having to bury the dead in the house, this is something nobody wants to give up. We need to improve. We need to, if there are things that we must shelve, after all, at a point in Nigeria or in most native societies all over the world, not just Nigeria, not just Africa, Even in South America, the Fiji Islands, New Zealand, Papua New Guinea, elsewhere, everywhere, all over the world, Europe, this America where we live, there were times when native tribes practiced human sacrifice. I mean, things that were so gory. But with improved civilization, it is almost a curse. It's almost an anathema to find any community where human sacrifice will be the order of the day. So if the world could move away from such harmful traditional practices, it should not be difficult to also move away from open defecation. It should not be difficult to also begin to look at the possibility of stopping to bury the dead in residential homes in Nigeria. Now, why do we need to stop this? Apart from the need to stop the spread of cholera and other communicable diseases, I tell you, we also stand to benefit immensely in terms of the economics of having to stop to bury people at home in Nigeria. Because when you bury the dead in any given building, you practically are doing nothing other than reducing the asking price, the value of such a property. And I don't think, yes, people often say that, oh, this house, because somebody is buried there, cannot be sold. But other than the fact that you have a roof on your head for your household and for your personal protection while still alive, these things are as ephemeral as any other thing that is attached to the material world. Which is why real estate business is a serious thing in Western world. But you really cannot say that African countries, particularly Nigeria and Yoruba tribe, where you and I come from, more than 50 million people constitute the Yoruba nation in Nigeria. You cannot say, I mean, in Akure, you go to the place called Old Garage, Oshodi, Eruoba, and other trado-centric hub of that great civilization. Some of those houses have no business still standing today. For God's sake, Akure is supposed to be a modern state capital, but because people say, oh, my grandmother was buried there, my grandfather was buried here, houses that should have been given up long ago.
It will slow down civilization.
Yes.
In the very way that in the very same way that we all run away to the Japa for.
Yes. So when people talk of diversification of the economy in Nigeria, oh, it must be agriculture. Who told you it has to just be agriculture alone, or that should serve as alternative to the fossil fuel economy there? Real estate is real business.
I mean, that when people say that, I always find it as cute. I think Nigeria should go back to agriculture, but I think they need to start thinking beyond that, as you're saying.
Yes, service sector of the economy.
Yes.
There are things that will generate money, like this real estate thing we are talking about. So as we contemplate about stopping and halting the spread of cholera and other communicable diseases, particularly waterborne diseases, we must begin to also think of a creative response to making that nation, that country, a modern one, a greater one. Our people are not so tied to sentiments about tradition and what have you. We can do better to improve our lot. Finally,
yes.
Let me say that whatever.
Is that another topic? I'm asking.
No, just to wrap it up.
Oh, okay. All right, go ahead, sir.
You wanted to say something. Do I still have any time left?
You got 2 minutes for the special.
Anyway, whether we're talking about the structure of Nigerian economy as it concerns culture and tradition, we also must give serious thought to what we do about facilities that are provided by the government for the good of the public. For example, when some people got so zealous about their political protectionism, oh, we are the party in power and this and that, when Akeredolu provided that 76 million naira worth of reticulated industrial borehole for the for the Ayede Ogbese kingdom, it was thought that that thing would be automatically handed over to the Ayede Ogbese community through the royal council, that is the king or the regent, as the case may be, alongside the council of chiefs and other civil society groups that help to run the system. But what we found out was that politicians started saying, oh, it was provided by our government. Today, that facility is not working anymore. And the Ondo State government, please, I'm making this special appeal to Governor Lucky Orimiso Ayedatiwa, must revisit that project. It's no longer working. And people are going back to the stream to fetch water. It's hectic every day. And recently, an old man, 70 years old man, who has been around the palace, who has really served our community, got drowned going to Ogbese River, to Baba Adeyo. The man came from Ekpa Ekiti. He has lived in Ayede Ogbese for almost 50 years. And he drowned in the Ogbese River.
Oh, no.
I mean, this is really heartbreaking. Another youth died there about 2 years ago. A young man, say like 12, 13 years old. He died. And when I saw the corpse, it broke my heart. People, I mean, these are avoidable deaths. And so, please, politicians should learn to allow, to do things with profound cooperation with the royal councils everywhere. Let the kings be relevant. People talk of 3 tiers of government in Nigeria. I beg to disagree. Yes, you have the federal government, you have the state government, you have local governments, but at the what's it called? At the grassroots level is the traditional councils, the traditional royal councils. They are the last bastion through which the government, the different governments deal with the common folks. And when trouble brews, the palace is the first point of call that people go to before they even think of the divisional police officers. So I thank you, and let us connect with whatever government is doing to make life better for us. This is not against, I mean, this is not a criticism of the politicians in Ayede Ogbese. What I am just saying, not just Ayede Ogbese alone, all over Nigeria, what I'm saying is that there must be synergy, cooperation. When things come to the community to get better protection, whether it is city halls, whatever government is providing, community schools, libraries, public libraries, whatever, let us make sure we work to keep them going. That is how America has been able to stabilize its civilization in the different communities, the different cities and counties. Thank you for listening. That's our report.
Thank you so much for that. All right. I appreciate you for rounding that up. Yeah, cholera, open defecation. I think that was a huge topic, honestly. But thank you so much for sharing that with us. We do have some other stories to cover for the rest of this.
Yeah, public health educators are all over Nigeria trying to flag off, doing Zoom meetings to flag off a major campaign. National Orientation Agency, the different ministries of education, the information departments of local government, the palaces all over Nigeria should be involved. Our people cannot just die from this preventable disease. Thank you.
Thank you. With that being said, please hit the like button, share, subscribe, follow, turn up your notifications so you're notified whenever we go live. Check out this next segment. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back. Let's watch this small short video and then we'll talk. I also have an article that we should review. Tinubu, I will not turn back on Nigerians. Let's get to it.
Hello? Hello?
Okay, you couldn't hear it. Is that correct?
I had you initially. Tinubu saying he will not turn. Will not turn his back.
But you couldn't hear that video. You couldn't hear that video that's playing.
Yes, I can.
You can't. Okay.
Yes, I cannot. Yes.
I wonder why that's it. Okay. All right. So let's just go ahead and stick. Tinubu said he would not turn back. Nigeria. I think my audio might be. Let's try this. Hold on 1 second.
Well, I can hear you.
You can hear me, but the audio from the thing is somewhat disconnected.
Yeah, that may be because you are traveling. You are on the road in Boston. Otherwise, if this is anchored from the main studio base in New Jersey, it will be different.
Yeah. So let's do this. There's an article here. We're just gonna have to work with what we got today. Let's do that. All right. So why another coup is so unlikely in Nigeria? This is according to BBC. It's an article by Azizat Olaoluwa on BBC. And it reads, Nigeria, a nation once notorious for military rule, is marking 25 years of democracy at a time when several of its West African neighbors have had coups in recent years. The brass bands will play, the crowd will cheer, and the president will make a speech. But outside of Wednesday's official event, many may be wondering what the celebration is really for. You cannot eat democracy. It's a phrase often attributed to autocrats, but it has always been used by elected leaders as a warning about what the population might demand of them. So I'm sure you got like maybe a good grasp of what they're talking about there.
Yeah, a good drift. Number one, let us applaud Nigeria for being able to publicly come out to organize parades, give speeches, and reviews during the last June 12 public holiday in Nigeria. And for those who are not Nigerians, what is June 12? June 12 essentially is about the landmark date in the year 1993 when several Nigerians, I think the population of those who voted that day was put at about, I don't know if 14 million, or I wouldn't remember now specifically, so we can't speculate around that. But millions of Nigerians defied the wet conditions of that day. And after a torturous schedule and changes in dates of a military handover, and then believing the promises served on a hapless and cynical populace, voters, by the then self-styled military president of Nigeria, Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida, otherwise known as IBB or Maradona. He was styled, he was nicknamed Maradona because people felt in a way that was characteristic of a Argentine soccer player, the late Diego Maradona, that General Babangida was a master dribbler and that he could not be trusted. Well, he would openly embrace that name, that nickname, but it was actually used derisively about the different ways in which he used to manipulate the populace. Once he set up a political bureau, there were debates as to whether Nigeria should take IMF loan, World Bank facilities. At the end of the day, they said it was rejected, but via back channel, they smuggled on Nigeria, bitter neoliberal economic policies in the name of a structural adjustment program, SAP. People in my generation who were just getting admissions into the universities and people who were already in the system all over Nigeria mobilized, and there was a massive 1989 anti-SAP protest or riots. Several Nigerians were killed, mauled down, and then a culmination of that was the political transition and handover from military to elected civilian leadership. 1992, every contestant on the platform of then two political parties in Nigeria, Social Democratic Party, SDP, National Republican Convention, NRC, because of underhand tactics and intolerant political, what do you call it, games. All of them were disqualified and banned. And then, I mean, in that class were people like Shehu, the one-time number 2 military man from 1976 to 1979, the late Major General Shehu Musa Yaradua. He was banned. People like Chief Olufalai, now Oba Olufalai of Iluabu, also ran. He was banned. Iwanyanwu Emmanuel. People like Arthur Nzeribe, all of them were banned. And then the field was left open for the emergence of people like Chief Moshood, Olawale Kashimawo, MKO Abiola, and from SDP, and the late Alhaji Bashir Tofa of NRC. So these two political titans, but the what's it called? Bashir Tofa was more of a was more less titanic than the behemoth business phenomenon, COUP, political surprise, named as a Moshood Kashimawo Olawale Abiola, MKO Abiola. And so there's part assurances between IBB, that is Babangida, and MKO Abiola as personal friends. When it was time for Babangida to be an authentic soldier, a man whose bond could be trusted, he failed the nation again. And then all the votes that were garnered that made MKO Abiola victorious in an election that was adjudged to be the freest and fairest in the history of Nigeria was annulled by military fiat. And the infamy of that occasion got supported and orchestrated by characters like Arthur Nzeribe, one man called Abimbola Davis. These are people that history will never forget for throwing Nigeria into a traumatic, long-drawn political impasse. You know, they came out with what was known as Association for Better Nigeria, ABN, and aided by a midnight judgment by one late Justice Ekpa. The election was annulled. And so Shonekon came on board as ING man, interim national government person. Thereafter, Sani Abacha, Taciturn General, that goggled, and he was the one who shoved Shonekon aside and consolidated on power hold. The long and short of it is that Nigeria has had a transition to democracy on the blood of a matter of democracy like MKO Abiola and others. And when people talk about being authentic heroes of Nigerian democracy today, yes, Nigeria has had this experience unbroken, uninterrupted for the past 25 years. When people talk about being heroes of democracy, yes, we applaud the role played by people like Professor Wole Soyinka. Now we have also known that Brigadier General David Mark, who later became Senate President in Nigeria, played active role in supporting the pro-democracy movement. But what people like us thought before was that for a man who once claimed that a cell phone was not meant for the poor, for a man who was identified as a key IBB boy, one of those who said Babangida must annul the election. So it's a surprise to people like me to learn that he was actually one of those who assisted Dr. Kayode Fayemi, the immediate past governor of Ekiti State, to set up Radio Kudirat and other surreptitious pro-democracy activities. We applaud these people. But on a personal note, let me tell you, people like us were also involved. As a young university, are you there, Ola? Hello?
Yes, I am here. Yes.
Yeah. As a young university student, I remember coordinating NANS activities for SDP concerning Zone B. And when the military said the end had come for that democratic dispensation, that the two political parties should be should dismantle and every politician should go back home. I remember pinning down the then chairman of SDP in Ondo State. I don't know if he's still alive, Mr. Blessing Kayode, a native of Idori. He was the chairman of SDP in Ondo State, and I told him, so you people are not going to blink an eye. I mean, is it the way you people are just going to be cowardly and then you won't argue with these people? And the man looked at me and laughed. I said, so how do you argue with people who carry guns and you don't even have guns? That was, yes. One Mr. Akochile then was the secretary of SDP in Ondo State. These were the memories I had, and it was a huge disappointment, and then we started resistance. But personally, there was one young man from Ayebe Ogbese. His name was Olorunda, the younger brother to a friend of mine, Babatunde Dele. Olorunda was working as an attendant at SO filling station in Akure. And then people like us were daring the soldiers, driving through bonfires and putting up pro-democracy posters. And they couldn't catch us because that same year, I was coordinating for Oyemeku Festival Committee, having been contracted by Chief Mrs. Adekonye, Chief Mrs. Mercy Adefumilayo Adekonye, to handle the Oyemeku Festival thing. And I was hiding under that. You know, I was organizing the Oyemeku Miss Oyemeku thing for the Akure, the Oyemeku Festival thing. And under that, we were driving through bonfires and defying gunshots from soldiers to paste pro-democracy posters. That was the circumstance in which Olorunda, who was an attendant at SO filling station at Okemesho, Ayetoro Akure, that was how he got shot. I will remember the trauma of how people like, people were trying to push the intestines back into the stomach. Very gory that day. And he ended up at Kolade Memorial Hospital.
Sorry, somebody said here, Omo, this man's memory is lit. So I know you can go on and on and on over there, but I have a question for you with regards to this.
Please, let me run this.
I'll let you finish. But finish it with this question.
Yeah, Olorunda, who succumbed, who died. Nobody mentions people like him today anymore when they are talking of what people like Tinubu did, the big billionaires, what they have done. Yes, we celebrate Baba Alfred Rewani, the late, Kudirat Abiola and all those people. But commoners, as Olorunda was going to die at Christopher Kolade Hospital in Akure, I remember what he was. The mother was saying, I will sell my goat. I will say, please don't let him die. And the boy said, Yemi, Shebimi, no, Mom, it's not my fault too. I love to hang on to life. I love longevity. And the guy died. The young man died. So when billionaires gather in Nigeria today, as if it's all about them, and when Nigerians are demanding that, we want dividends of democracy. So I understand the context in which the context through which this article from BBC was written. Yes,
Right.
it is unlikely that this democracy project in Nigeria, it is not likely to fail like the others before. But if the others failed, if people, because of frustration, could demand openly for military coup that led to the first revolution, January 15, 1966 in Nigeria, who told anybody we should not live in fool's paradise? All the shenanigans that you have seen people like Yahya Bello perpetuate, all that you have seen happen through Nyesom Wike in Rivers State, all that you have seen, people jumping boat anyhow, lacking in principle, ideology, and philosophy, those things could as well undermine Nigeria's democracy. I do not wish that this democracy will fail. It will not fail. But if it fails, then it will be because we deliberately work towards its failure.
All right, good. So I know for a fact that we're on the same page with regards to obviously respecting the time of our audience. So with that being said, I want to ask you this question. Are you saying that just because there's no coup, explain this part for me, just because there's no coup or there's no possibility of coup does not mean that the democracy have succeeded? Is that what we're driving at here?
It has not succeeded entirely. In place of military coup, or what people identify as the blatant coup d'etat,
right?
There is political coup against the electorate and the people.
There's
who are
different forms of coup. There's 2024 forms of coups, and we have to pay attention to those.
So this political coup, through which somebody will happen on the stage and said in one fell swoop, because he wants to stand. I mean, he wants to stand tough and strong, and said subsidy is gone, and since then the economy is in the doldrums. What do you call that? It's a form of political coup against the kind-hearted Nigerian people that gave them political power. This is the point I'm making.
All right. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate you. All right. What are your thoughts about this? What we're discussing is why a coup is unlikely in Nigeria's democracy. Do you think it's unlikely? Do you think it's likely? Do you think we're already in the middle of it? Want to hear your thoughts on this? Want to get your opinions on this? I appreciate you all for being here. Shout out to all the 9 people watching live. Shout out to Natu, I see you. Hit the like button, share, subscribe, follow. Turn up your notifications so you're notified when we go live. Check out this next segment. All right, welcome back. Let me know if you can hear this. Just tell me in about 2 seconds or 3 seconds if you can hear this, because I try to fix the audio. Let's see.
Yes, I can hear this time.
You can hear that, right?
Yes, I can.
All right, great. Hold on. Let's talk about this story. Trump fights back. Red states challenge gag order in Florida case. You can dance a little bit. It's just an ad. All right, great.
Another Trump legal case, and this one is federal judge Eileen Cannon rejected a special counsel Jack Smith's request for a gag order against Donald Trump in the classified documents case, saying that prosecutors' request was, and this is a quote, wholly lacking in substance and professional courtesy. So that is the judge in the case. And I want to shift gears here because this is breaking. You've got a situation, Lee Zeldin, where Trump can barely say anything. He alludes to it every time he talks about this case. Every morning we hear him saying, well, I can't go really any farther because of the gag order. While the liar Michael Cohen doesn't have a gag order, and he's done everything from sell merch to lie more about everything that's going on. But in Florida, this is not the case. Judge Cannon has just said she is denying the gag order. Your reaction?
Well, President Trump should have the opportunity to be able to defend himself in the middle of this presidential campaign. That's one of the problems with the gag order in this case inside of New York City. Now, what you're hearing from what Judge Cannon is saying in denying this gag order is a criticism of this prosecution with Jack Smith. She is critical of the gag order request substantively.
All right.
The lack of courtesy
So,
in not going.
what gag order are they talking about? Are you familiar with?
Oh, well, you see, basically, it's been established. It has been established that Mr. Donald Trump, now a convicted felon, yes, former
Ouch.
president of the United States of America, he has been convicted of 39 charges. Yeah, 34 counts in the New York matter that held earlier, the hush money thing. So it's been proven, it's been established, he has that record of being indecorous. He does not know how to tame his tongue. And what he is been given, the free pass has been given in spite of well-known rules that you cannot say certain things about prosecutors, about members of the jury, about families of the presiding judge, without being guilty of contempt. And yes, he was fined over $90,000 in New York. But if you and I had been engaged in such practices, such as we now know about Donald Trump, you and I would not walk free. And understand that it was not even a civil matter. It was a matter of serious crime. It was a criminal proceeding. And in this case concerning Florida, Justice Iron, that is seen as a Republican appointee to the federal court system, continues to do everything, not pretending that she is being partisan. And so when it's given, it's something that can be taken for granted that she would deny the gag order against Donald Trump. Because, okay, why would there be a gag order against Donald Trump? He has said so many things about even the FBI, the people investigating the deals involved in the federal, the espionage act, the federal documents found at his Mar-a-Lago home in Florida. And you and I know that we continue to enjoy the liberty we have in this country because our law enforcement agents, FBI, state police, troopers, what have you, they do their job, and nothing should be said to disparage them and make people with doubtful minds, with psychotic anomalies, to come after them. And the way Donald Trump talks about the system is aimed at trying to paint America as a place that is unsafe. And this is coming on the platform of a party that used to campaign on the strength of law and order. I do not see that orderliness or lawfulness in Donald Trump. And so when the special prosecutor approaches the judge and says, this man must be gagged from being reckless or unwarranted attacks on prosecutors, on investigators, and what have you. I wouldn't know why the judge, other than playing to what has now been established as a pattern with her. For example, when the trial ought to have been held speedily, she delayed on it. Open, she and those Supreme Court justices here, honestly, not even in Nigeria, not even in any third world country would you find this kind of standard, that you would see Supreme Court justices accepting compromising favors from billionaires and what have you, and then trying to protect an accused just because they are trying to delay the process so that if eventually he's able to win, and I do not even know how he's going to win, because Americans are not like majority of the MAGAs. They say make America great again. They are not make America great again. I reduce them to the level of what we call MAGA in Nigeria. They are stalkers. These are people who are so gullible. They will believe anything, no matter how stupid, how retarded or foolish. They will embrace it if it's coming from Donald Trump. So this is the basis for which the prosecutor is asking for a gag order on Donald Trump before he incites the public, the people, against the system. And these justices and this particular judge, they are delaying the what's it called? The day of decision on the matters before them, hoping that Donald Trump will win in the election. Their calculation is that if he wins, he will be able to pardon himself.
Immunity.
Yes. So, and you see the useless and misguided debate on what would it be given presidential immunity to organize a coup against the system? That is even unthinkable. When did America start thinking like this? You only need to yes. If you
I guess it was a rhetorical question. Go ahead, continue.
It's not rhetorical. If it was rhetorical, they would have understood that is what they want to do.
No, you asked a question. You said, when did America start thinking like this?
Oh, yes. Until Donald Trump brought that mastery upon this country. And we don't stand for this in our country. This is our great country. If people like you, you were born here, but if people like me came here, naturalized as American citizens, escaping from the shenanigans of gendered political systems out there, and we get here, somebody is pushing us this kind of deal. Heck, no. That is why people will come out, resist this through the ballot, through the voting power. This is what this is about. So the judge can delay and not hand down justice as America. They even want to rewrite the Constitution in the names of judicial rascality, recklessness, and activism. Fine for them. But you know what? I know that American voters are so sagacious. They are bold. In the land of the free, the home of the free, the land of the brave, they will stop them in their track. This is what this gag order thing is about. So denying that is heartbreaking. It's almost like, giving a handshake to Donald Trump for his verbal diarrhea, his untamed tongue. And that tongue has to be tamed by the judicial process.
So how much exactly does this cross into deny him of his freedom of speech?
This does not qualify as thought. The free speech thing they're talking about, First Amendment protection they are talking about, does not extend to somebody who is standing criminal trial, having to malign, defame, and slander, almost libel the minders of the system. That is what he is doing. He is trying to devalue. I don't know the interest Donald Trump, I don't know whose interest he represents, but people suspect him of being some compromised politician. May not be wrong. They may not be far from the truth, because come to think of it, why would he be so desperate to devalue everything that defines America, that makes America exceptional? Why is he trying to bring us to the level of Russia, bring us to the level of North Korea, bring us to the level of China? Man, this place is called America. And this is not our standard. Our standard is that you respect the rule of law. He's not willing to do that. And the system is able to bow him over and make him respect things the way they are done here. Whoever does not want to respect the way the system runs should just pack the bag and baggages, go and live in wherever a portion of the world that suits such a whims and caprices. That's what we're saying. But for him to lead America to continue to be relevant, to be a citizen of this country, he has to be law-abiding. That's what we are saying. That is
So-
essentially how we make this. How we make this democracy work.
So I think that you're about to experience a level of tyranny that you didn't know existed in this country over the next several, maybe 4, 5, 6 months. What do you say to that?
Thank you for alerting us to that reality. Of course, he has said it that from day one, he just wants to be a dictator. Just allow him to be a dictator for one day. But dictatorship is something that is so attractive and so sweet to wannabe authoritarians and the totalitarians. Once they do that from the outset, from day one, they're not even going to stop. It's just going to make America ungovernable, because the libertarian spirit in the average American will resist him. And
So you're optimistic. You're optimistic.
I'm optimistic that he will be defeated in the election.
But you're going to see tyranny, but you're optimistic that the system will defend it, will defend itself.
I should think so, but of course, remember what is on his plate, what is on his manifesto. He's going to go after everybody that does not sing his tune. This person is going to be a famous character in Orwellian novel, Animal Farm. He will go after whoever does not sing his tune. He is going to be a strong man. That, he is obsessed with the vision of
becoming the strongest man in the world.
Yes, of what's it called? The ideal espoused by his icon, Adolf Hitler. That is what he wants, and America will not take that. Oh, Lord. It's a romantic dream for him, and that will never come. It will never come true. God forbid that day. And don't forget the words of Abraham Lincoln: for as long as this civilization will live, democracy will not fly. It will not fail.
All right. Thank you so much. Hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications, follow everywhere. Help us share. Let us know your thoughts. Leave our comments, okay? Leave your comments, leave your opinions. We would like to review them as we continue through these different conversations. With that being said, check out this next segment. We'll be right back. All right, let's talk about minimum wage reform. Minimum wage reform. So let me see if I can bring that video back again, and then maybe hopefully you can hear it this time. Let's play this video, this short video.
2024 is a year of double celebrations for Nigerians.
Can you hear that? Yes?
Yes, I can.
All right, good.
Firstly, the 29th of May marking 25 years of uninterrupted democracy, which is a significant milestone for the country. And secondly, the 12th of June, recently designated as the country's Democracy Day, dedicated to the widely accepted election outcome in the country's history, adjudged to be won by the late Moshood Abiola in 1993.
My fellow Nigerians,
in the traditional speech of President Bola Tinubu on this special day, he begins by recognizing the labors of those who fought for the country's democracy.
we lost great heroes and heroines along the way. In this struggle, the winner of June 12, 1993 presidential election, Chief MKO Abiola, the most significant symbol of our democratic struggle, his wife, Kudirat, General Shehu Musa Adua, and
anyway, let me not, I don't want us to waste too much time on that. There's this article here, right? It's on the, I'm finding it on the Reuters. Nigeria's presidency says economy reforms would continue despite hardships. Nigeria President Bola Tinubu said on Wednesday economy reforms would continue despite increasing hardship that had fueled public anger, and promised to send an executive bill to parliament soon to set a new minimum wage. So we're talking about minimum wage, okay? Tinubu, who came to power a year ago, removed a decades-old petrol subsidy that kept prices artificially low and devalue the currencies, sending inflation soaring to 33.69% in April, its highest level in nearly 3 decades, and eroding incomes. In a television broadcast to mark Democracy Day, Tinubu acknowledged hardships caused by the reforms, which also include high interest rates and a partial removal of electricity subsidies, but he said this would create a stronger foundation for future growth. Now, my question for you is that, do you believe this? Abi, is he whining us? What is going on?
Which one do you are you asking that? Are you asking if I believe? Do you mean that
do
he
you
will
believe
continue on the path of hard economic reforms, or that
that's a good
gonna,
question? Do you believe that? Do you believe that he's capable of this so-called reform? He's going to continue on the path of reform. That's what he's claiming. But is he capable of actually reforming that nation, considering
what
the
reform,
pain?
Yeah, what reform should we expect from him if it's gonna be a hard pill for the citizens to swallow? For example, virtually everyone in Nigeria today is going through this phase of being pauperized, being thrown into outright destitution. So, whatever reform you are doing, if it does not translate to good living standard, making sure that citizens have this affordable purchasing power and what have you, of what essence is that kind of reform? Who is it reforming for? Is it trying to, playing to an international gallery in the name of a neoliberal economic dictate coming from Bretton Woods institutions in Washington, D.C., or that one that would ensure that Nigerians can really say that, oh, democracy is worth it? Because at the end of the day, if it does this and then it ends up making democracy unpopular and some trigger-happy idiots wake up someday and decide to say, okay, this civilian democracy is sagged.
So let me give you based on your question, because it was really a good question. Let me give you this direct quote from him for context, and I quote: "Our economy has been in desperate need of reform for decades. It has been unbalanced because it was built on the flawed foundation of over-reliance on revenues from the exploitation of oil." Go ahead, sir.
He is not completely being sincere there. Nigeria's economy, yes, is desirous of reform, but that reform should be in the shape and form of putting structures in place that will prevent politicians like Tinubu from stealing most money available in the system. For example, in which way is he serving the interest of the common Nigerian? Spending over 90, you say you remove oil, fuel subsidy, then you spend over 90 billion naira to sponsor people on unproductive pilgrimages to Mecca, and you hold them accountable on that. They say, oh, Christians also get. Whether it's Christian, traditional religion practitioners, or Muslims, that is a wrong priority in this time and age. How much are they devoting on education? Go and check the provision they made for students' loan in Nigeria by this government, compared with the 90 billion naira spent on pilgrimage to Mecca. Now, you go to pilgrimage to Mecca, does it mean that you are going to make a journey? Does it mean that if you go to Jerusalem, does it mean that you have earned a ticket to go to heaven? Why don't you prepare the heart of the people, which is a personal thing? Why is the state involved in that? So what we're saying is that what should easily have funded infrastructure, but more than even infrastructure, developing human resource for Nigeria, is what is being diverted anyhow. And then to say that, oh, it's because it's over-reliance on oil. Qatar is so rich in gas. In gas, several countries in the Middle East rely on petrol dollar. Saudi Arabia. The question is, what is Nigeria doing with its own revenue from fossil oil? So that said, there are other things that can be experimented. But when you begin to trace majority of Nigeria missing funds to people like Yahya Bello, so I mean, allegedly, you trace it to people like the indicted Accountant General of the Federation, that I don't know if it was safekeeping that money for Nigerians. Well over 100 billion naira. 4 trillion traced to Emil Foley or Emil Foley, whatever the name is.
Emil Foley.
Emil Foley.
Emil Foley. Okay.
Yeah, it's a misnomer. They should just put that Foley. As a suffix to his name. And there are connecting journalists. Lately, you see one year publication in Nigeria, an online thing that was based in America here before, criticizing Emil Foley. But that guy, in the name of online journalists or what have you, went to collect about 400 million from Emil Foley. And then they said, oh, this would help in buffering online a subsector of journalism in Nigeria. What did he do? Went to buy, went to get residence in a banana island, bought himself a G-Wagon, started moving around with what do you call this police VIP, VIP
convoy.
Yes, convoy. A journalist for that matter.
Really?
And we are the most vociferous, the loudest in criticizing the system. But what we are always looking for is another avenue for us to also perpetuate our own form of fraud and corruption in the system. So Tinubu saying all this. Of course, also look at the packaging of Babagana Kingibe. I respect him, but this is a man who committed political harakiri. Political suicide. He was the winner of that joint ticket. I mean, he was a joint winner of that ticket with MK Abiola as the vice presidential candidate. But immediately, offers were dangled. He betrayed the cause. He betrayed the cause, but he has been rehabilitated by the political class in Nigeria today. He was the one that was making such flowery statements at the celebration. And by the way, Tinubu staggered there, going to make that statement, because the system also understands, or the nation understands, that he may not also go there to make completely honest statements. He staggered, he almost collapsed there. And look at Bayo Nanuga coming out with statements to say, oh, Joe Biden stumbled before Obama did this. They're always looking for stupid equivalents elsewhere. How about mentioning Fidel Castro that stumbled and collapsed and fell face down like that and never, ever never got rehabilitated to power in Cuba? So we must look at the minds of these people. We must look at their health, and then we must look at things they shone out on all of us. Tinubu, yes, I wish him well. I am not. I criticize constructively. I want him to succeed, but he has to help himself. The onus is on him as to his intentions for coming into power, as to the people, the interests he wants to serve. Is he going to just hand himself this, what's it called? This historical stuff that, oh, it was president in Nigeria. And then look at the way we mentioned IBB. Is still finding him out as a manipulative leader, military leader. Unelected, called himself military president. Fine. At the end of the day, what did he make out of it? Is he happy today? He's still alive. Is he happy the way Nigeria has played out in his? He had the opportunity of making things right. The same way Tinubu too has an opportunity now of being there, being present, being a witness to history that serves the good of the people. But if he's making a choice that is different from that, what do? We wish him well. We see how far he can go with that. But he has to be honest and free himself from the feistiness of individuals like Bayo Nonuga. Even if Tinubu is going into hellfire, he will be clapping him on and then attack people that should not attack.
Thank you so much for that. Let us know your thoughts. I know the minimum wage thing is an ongoing story. We'll continue to cover it as it comes on our radar.
All of them are in denial as to what Nigeria can pay. Of course, another article came out in New York Times drawing attention to the moment at which we have been right on this platform. We said Tinubu pushed the equivalent of the nuclear button, when he said subsidy is gone. Who was he trying to impress? Today he's dealing with that. And what is he doing now? He says, he will continue to do these tough reforms. In spite of the pains for them, and there's not been a woman, he will compare between that and Sharp. Has he ever given birth to a baby before? Is he a woman? Maybe he did that through his whatever, I don't know. But what we're saying here is that he has to be careful. He should secure his legacy and not allow anybody. People who have been failures in the past, they will press it on him to end up as a failure.
That move, right? That move, the one you're speaking of, could be considered. We know it as what it is today. Was quite impulsive. Some could consider it bold move. Like as soon as it's coming, hit the floor ground, running. Right? You know how they say that, right? So,
yeah, people say that.
But it's important. It was basically an impulsive. Yeah, but when the leader of a nation promises to do that, it doesn't literally mean you just throw everybody on.
Yes, in that wise, because let us look at another angle to it. Being the commander-in-chief, is that the way he would have executed a battle plan for the country? And
exactly.
This is almost like what he did in the ground running, he walled himself, or he ran himself into an ambush.
Exactly.
And he is engulfed, he's embattled.
So if you claim so much that you inherited very bad economy from Buhari, we kind of all agree on that.
Is he even courageous enough to point it out? Buhari, for what he did through Emefiele, Buhari should be in prison today. Absolutely. After all, Donald Trump is facing his demon in court here. Since when have you ever heard that these people ever put any wrong-headed or headed or odd-headed corrupt Nigerian past leader?
All right, let's round that up. That up.
They always love to protect themselves.
Yeah,
so
that's
and they will now want to invest some money on a presidential jet instead of taking care of the people.
That's what we heard. They approved for a new jet for the presidency. Anyway, that's another story entirely.
Yeah, that is called, Ola, you know what that is called? Glorious profligacy. It is wasteful. What is it going to do for anybody? Yes, they should focus on what would lift people up and the nation itself.
In fact, since you've drawn me out, you know I love Adiola, so let me just play this for you.
I thought we're out of time here. You want to make
I am, but it's a short one.
Anyway, trust Jola with our humor.
Yeah.
Nigerian lawmakers want the president to buy 2 new jets. In this economy, people are hungry. It's a trap. If you buy new jets right now, Mr. President, people will be praying for you. The prayers that come with thunder. Can you imagine? My fathers, why don't you suggest you will reduce your salaries and allowances? You cannot suggest that you will reduce your own salary. Why can't you suggest that the president implements the new minimum wage ASAP? Presidential private jets, we have 6 presidential jets, yo. It's not just the one that is 19 years old. There are newer ones that can be serviced. If he doesn't want, let him start taking public transportation or let him take commercial plane. And then the president start to travel by road. They will fix all our roads. So, jokes aside, I know the president will not fly commercial, but they can service his jets. Can you imagine? Let them service his jets, yo, Jare. They probably already approved it. Nigerian lawmakers want the president to buy.
All right, that was it.
Yes, I agree with that. It's a trap to make Tinubu unpopular. And unfortunately, he doesn't even do much to help himself. And if he cannot help himself, we to say we want to help him. We can only suggest
We're citizens.
Yes, that is our place. And our citizenship is the strongest office, stronger than that of a Mr. President. You may laugh about that, but that is the reality.
A comment says, Emilocons are not hungry, it's their turn. Bat must buy that private jet, at least make them teach Peter Obi a lesson.
What
in Diara.
Thank you for that comment.
All right. So hit the like button, share, subscribe, follow, turn up your notifications so you're notified when we go live. We'll be right back. Check out this next segment. All right, Defense Chief VOWS arrest Simon Ekpa now. I'm going to play this video, then we'll talk.
Funding is critical. Trails the money. That's always the issue. Now we have areas of funding both locally and internationally. For the local aspects, they have a means of, they have their followers that they've empowered that contribute money to what they are doing. They go through banditry, some of them get benefit from taxes. All this they do from within, the kidnappings is all part of it where they raise funds. And then externally, we have external people that equally support them. The issue of IPOB. There's a lot of funding that comes in there. Yes.
Are you worried? Because you know an operation,
of course, definitely.
A special operation on the sit-at-home IPOB situation in the southeast.
Yes.
But some of the elements and the leaders of these groups are outside of the country.
Yes. We have repeatedly complained about the issue of Simon Ekpa. He is in Finland. The Finnish government are giving him all the support and he's doing what he's doing. Comments he's making. People are being killed and nothing is being done. And this is democracy. If European Union is the one supporting democracy and this is happening and they're not taking action, then they don't mean well for Nigeria. We have said that in clear terms. We need to diplomatically find means of getting him out of whatever it is that he's doing. He must be arrested, he must be prosecuted. Look at it from the other way. Assuming he is in Nigeria and he's doing that to the Finnish government, you think the European Union will allow that happen? They definitely will not. So why are they allowing him to do what he's doing? And people like him that are doing such things. Trailing the funds is very critical. I know a lot of the Federal Central Bank,
All right, so let's keep it at let me hear your thoughts on this.
I'm not really excited about the position of this commentator. The truth of the matter is that in the days of the pro-democracy activities that culminated in the 1999 return to civil rule in Nigeria, you have heard from individuals like Dr. Khaled Fayemi, who ran Radio Kudirat, how European governments were able to give them support, to give the pro-democracy groups support. Whatever Finland is doing, I do not support the insidious rhetorics of Simon Ekpa. I do not, because I don't like people sitting somewhere and instigating others, unsuspecting compatriots to go commit suicide in the name of taking on state actors like the military and the police. And what is more, making the Southeastern, don't forget, I have good connections with the Igbo people. And it breaks my heart to see good people like this go through this level of anguish that they are dealing with. But how did we get there? Like I've said in the past, we fought the Civil War. You and I were not even born then, and I was only 54. That Civil War, the otherwise known as Biafran War, ended a few months before I was born in 1970. So why make me feel like I should inherit that? As I was growing up, and people like Uday, Francis, so many, Jerome, people who were working on with my father on cocoa plantation at Ayede Ogbese, good Igbo people, they came, and we have lived together harmoniously, ever since. Back in Ayediyogbe, there are still good Igbo people. There are even Igbos who are members of our our traditional royal council, integrated into the system. This is what I want to see. At the level of what's it called, national interchange and interplay. I've been around very fine Igbo gentlemen, politicians, good-natured. So why must politicians turn us against each other? So if Ekpa is in Finland and is saying things that are so insidious and divisive and incendiary, things that are murderous, there are ways of, after all, when it comes to engaging Boko Haram fighters up north and the bandits up north, they talk of not using kinetic approach alone. Obasanjo will call it carrot and stick. What is wrong in having that kind of arrangement in engaging IPOB? But when it comes to Igbo, there must be different standards. You say, people do everything to frustrate them. Even when they participate in elections, they make sure that they don't get close to the presidency. If you hate them so much, why don't you let them have a referendum, a plebiscite? If they want to be in the country, if the people in the country want to continue to have them, so be it. But you don't begin to make them feel like they are not welcome in Nigeria. This is what this is about. And there must be a political solution to it. All the legalists, they are pushing. I had the Attorney General and the Minister of Justice the other day. All these things are human entanglements. We make it look as if, there's a mystery behind it. Why is it? What is so difficult about working for love? Why must we hate each other as neighbors like this? So, if these people who are celebrating democracy today, did not find it wrong to embrace Western support, European support, to drive the military away in Nigeria. So now that Finland allows somebody to leave, maybe you don't even know if Simon Ekpa is a Finnish citizen. You don't know. And I think Nigerian government should understand that working for the cause of peace will be okay. You don't begin to organize each squad to go after people, to go and kill them internationally. It does not contribute anything to the good look of Nigeria. It makes us look so bad, so ugly in the mirror. Because the temptation will be there. There will be people who give wrong advice. So fifth columnists who want to ensure that the present administration in Nigeria fails. I do not know why Tinubu would inherit the anger and the wrong directions of Buhari. A third, if not at least, poorly rated general who visited so much evil on our country with his 8 years reign. Tinubu should initiate his own goodwill towards everybody. The excitement. For example, linking banditry with what is happening in the south is novel to me. We thought that banditry was something that was prevalent in some parts of the north. Now, it's blanketing everywhere in Nigeria. What are we doing to push back on it? Today, we had reports of 6 people being killed somewhere up north. Last week, another report. Day in, day out, this is what we deal with. So, whether it's Nnamdi Kanu, Simon Ekpa, whatever, they know their internal arrangement. The deal is that Nigeria must find a lasting political solution to all these disagreements between us as neighbors, as members of as citizens of the same country. We can do better than this. This is my honest opinion. This is how I feel.
All right. Thank you so much. I think that would be a perfect place to end today's show. I think we went 20 minutes over time. It's okay. We'll continue to learn how to manage the time. It's okay.
Yeah, our audience should please forgive us. We'll
Yeah.
be here.
All right.
Yeah,
All
we
right.
do not want to end like a Donald Trump. We would be more disciplined and decorous. Thank you.
All right, everybody. Natu said, let me see. She said, I love IQ's sense of humor. I guess that laugh, that comic relief was necessary from shout out to Adiola. Yeah, thank you so much. Do us a favor, hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications. Hopefully you've been enlightened and educated. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.
Bye.